SMT Nation, we back. Nation, T-Mobile just dropped this update, and it's a really good one. They continue to expand their network, and actually what they're doing, they're not just making the network larger, but they're making it more accessible because they're building to the depth within a lot of these regions where historically T-Mobile has been weak and unable to compete adequately. Previously, folks were basically taking a risk if they had T-Mobile in some of these parts of upstate New York, and now with this dedication to the build and filling in spots and regions and segments of the state, this is going to make them a real player there. And this is huge for the folks there. All right, so let me explain more and describe what I know about this region and what T-Mobile just announced today in this press release. I'll be sure to link the press release for you. It'll be down in the description so you guys can check out some of those details, but we'll go over some of the things. Okay, so you can find all that down there in the description, and you could support us, like and share this video. If you guys want to support us on Patreon or get a YouTube membership, that supports us as well. Okay, so T-Mobile rolls out faster speeds in upstate New York with expanded 5G network. All right, so now according to T-Mobile, they cover nearly 97% of the upstate New York region, which is great news. I can share with you guys some of the details from the press release. What they're saying has been accomplished over the course of the last several years and large, massive scale investments. 400 new cell sites have been added to the area with 800 existing towers, which likely have been upgraded and probably integrated also from Sprint. So that means the network footprint has expanded. But I think most importantly, it's the depth of the build that has improved. That's always been T-Mobile's weakness. Tower here, tower there, lots of gaps in between. And now they're really starting to put it together in some of these parts. Does this mean that they are on par with AT&T or Verizon? Absolutely not. It doesn't mean that nationwide they filled in all the gaps. There's so much work for them to do. However, this is one less place where T-Mobile has a coverage and experience deficiency. They've shored up this region. All right, so some of the parts here, and I'll show you guys some of these portions of the market. So T-Mobile launched 5G at Albany Airport, Clarkson University, Fairhaven State Park, Fort Drum, Lake Placid, and sunny Plattsburgh. Now, I don't know if those places lacked coverage completely or if it was roaming or what have you. Maybe it wasn't upgraded, but that's what they said. And then with respect to the county level, you have Albany, Cayuga, Chautauqua, Erie, Monroe, Niagara, Onondaga, which I've had family that lived there, Rensselaer, Saratoga, and then St. Lawrence. So these parts of counties are basically, they've probably built out most of the counties. This means that these folks have two things coming their way. These folks have a possible home internet option to compete with their expensive cable operator or crappy DSL provider with, who knows if they have fiber available to them. So it gives you that possible outcome. And I think most importantly, it gives you a coverage layer, a legitimate, reliable coverage layer for folks who have been stuck on other carriers. I want to paint this picture for you guys. Upstate New York is very, very scenic. There are a lot of trees in this area, like heavy forest, very hilly, that sort of thing. It really is a gorgeous place. Lots of lakes and spread out land and stuff like that. And then, of course, you got the Canadian border, right? And, there's nice towns there, right? Like Syracuse, Albany, and Buffalo, and these parts. Verizon really has been the go-to in these places. And, of course, with FirstNet, AT&T changed a lot of that. I have spoken to some folks who still live in upstate New York, and sometimes they tell me there are a few parts where AT&T is the best network. And there are parts where Verizon is the most reliable just because it's the most available, right? And then, of course, AT&T, shored up some of that. T-Mobile has been behind because they haven't been able to get to all parts of the country. Now they're starting to fill the gap in this particular place. I don't know what this means for Maine. I don't know what this means for Vermont. I don't know what it means for the other places. But they dropped this to let us know, and we're thankful for this because some carriers, AT&T, don't let us know what they're up to with their network. But Verizon and T-Mobile do a nice job of that. And now for the folks that live here in this part of the country, maybe they want to say goodbye to Verizon. Maybe they want to say goodbye to AT&T. Maybe they want to try T-Mobile, and previously they could not because T-Mobile didn't have a competitive network experience. Maybe there was too much roaming. Maybe 2G speeds. There's a whole bunch of factors. And now this makes them much more competitive. So I'm happy, and I'm happy for those folks, and they can celebrate that they can have a competitive option. Maybe T-Mobile will give them a free line or a better deal. Things that Verizon or AT&T won't do. As long as the network is up to par, which I believe now in this instance, it's competitive. And that's not to say there's not more to it. Call quality and reliability, those are valuable metrics, and we all get that. But at least now you've got network parity within this location. And I could tell you, it's quite possible in some instances, T-Mobile might be better than Verizon, because I know for a fact Verizon does have some outdated sites in this part of the country. So until Verizon gets their act together and upgrades these sites, and I know they are, right? But maybe you just can't wait. You need something better. It gives people an option. Definitely does. This is big. We continue to get news from T-Mobile about things like this. We saw the West Virginia piece. We saw the Ohio piece. Now we're seeing New York. This is great. Love it. Sound off in the comment section. Share with me. Tell me if you have seen any of this, if you're from the region, or if you're from a part of the country where T-Mobile has been aggressively building and matching coverage from the big two carriers. Tell me all about it. Sound off in the comment section below. You all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.